Yeah, so thank you for that introduction and also for this opportunity to speak to this rather elite group of uh, mostly, I think, academic oriented people and those trying to teach entrepreneurship to the students who are passing through their institutions. I'd like to step, out of the academia zone into the business zone where we are operating. And I would like to talk about two phases of my life. One, the first 25 years which I spent on the Indian Railways, where as you know, it's a civil service. So it has all the difficulties of a civil service, some of which was mentioned by Biju also, and the difficulties which he's encountering. And then afterwards, with this German company, which is in the power sector, where I started the subsidiary in India in 2001 after I left the railways. And we now are the largest subsidiary of this company with over 1,500 employees, starting with just one employee. We do almost everything in the power sector. Now, what are we looking for? Because I think that's what the academia is trying to produce and trying to orient itself towards a more entrepreneurial bunch of people whom they send out from their institutions. Uh, in our company too, because all large companies have a certain level of bureaucracy and a certain comfort zone, which was being referred to by one of the other speakers, where they feel that, okay, I got a job now and there is a pathway and I just need to not rock the boat and not make too many mistakes, and I will go up the ladder, not completely up the ladder, but at least 3/4 the way up the ladder with just doing what is, a normal activity without being entrepreneur. Actually, the COVID situation has shaken us out of this comfort zone because suddenly everything became much more unpredictable, compared to what it was before that. It was already, we have had these kind of shocks in the past, but nothing, I think, which can compare to what happened with this COVID. And this, of course, taught us many things. It made us entrepreneurial in many ways. Communication, meetings, everything which we were doing were far more efficiently done digitally. And we started looking inside the company to see suddenly everybody is working from home. And then we found that maybe we don't need to travel so much. So there's a lot of innovation and how do we manage engineering work remotely and completely remotely with clients. A lot of IT work was already being done remotely, but we found new ways to do it. And we then wanted to see how could we encourage our people to be more innovative. So in our assessment, we didn't have too much of weightage to innovation or entrepreneurship within the organization. So within the organization, we started off a series of schemes which encouraged people not only to give their ideas, because everybody is willing to give an idea. It just takes 5 minutes to write down an idea and put it across. Whether it's turned into an actual product or a service, he didn't bother too much because we were even rewarding just ideas. We had got to a stage where he said, okay, you just give us an idea which is worth pursuing and we'll reward you. And we still do that. But we have got to the next stage where we are encouraging them to make a business case out of the idea. And after having made a business case, we are supporting them with pilot projects. We are willing to finance the pilot project. So the entrepreneur is finding his finances from within the company. And we are prepared that only 1 out of those 10 things will succeed. I've got that in mind. But the message is going around inside the organization that if you are not innovative, the first step, it's a carrot to become innovative. But the next step is around the corner. It's already started. We have started shedding non-innovativity. So I think in the future, in order to keep a job, it won't be sufficient that you have an academic qualification and you join at the bottom of the ladder and you think you can push your way up. You will not get past even the first step in the ladder if you are not displaying a certain level of entrepreneurial skills within the organization. So I think we are doing our bit in this area. I have some comments about all the constraints which people talked about. And I think it's also part of the entrepreneurship to see how can you get past those constraints. I think in the same Kerala, which is been talked about as being not business friendly and things like that, we had one Mr. Sridharan who was able to cut through all the red tape and was able to achieve something. We have an airport similarly functioning, which is extremely entrepreneurial. I think we need to get ideas across and make the political power, the bureaucracy, all of them part of this whole exercise, because the nation or the state or whichever you want to call it needs to be entrepreneurial. And one of the most important aspects of leadership, which Tom, and if I may call you that, which you said we can all, is that we should choose leaders who are entrepreneurs. If we don't, it's not the other way around. So leadership, I think the greatest characteristic of leadership is entrepreneurship. And only after that will come things like communication, capabilities, all of which can be, in a way, more or less taught skills. So many of the entrepreneurial skills can be, I would say, not taught exactly. It can only be learned by doing, as somebody was mentioning here. And we have tried our best, for example, by setting up the Center for Smart City Technologies at Rajagiri, in collaboration with Rajagiri Engineering College, to set up a place where students can come and, just make proof of concept or prototype. And I think this is being enthusiastically welcomed by a lot of the students. COVID, of course, is coming away now. We have all the equipment by which they can make their prototypes. So we know what kind of people we are looking for at the company. And we are trying to see what we can do to help Rajagiri to orient their students in that direction. But however, I must say that entrepreneurship has to be something which should become a very important assessment criteria for whether it is professors or bureaucrats or politicians or anywhere. I think all around it's being recognized that if you're not capable of getting something done, then you're not any good really for business. So finally, business is, and there's so much of information available. It's not like in the past where you could not get information. You can do net searching for almost anything, and there is enough collaboration which you can have with similar entrepreneurs who can be either one-man show or small little entrepreneurs network so well that it is possible for us to have an ecosystem which is not, there can be a cover of a government and there can be some laws and things like that, University Grants Commission and things like that, but inside it, there can be a whole ecosystem which exists, which can help create jobs, help the students to find new jobs, and it should be possible for them to move very rapidly within a company to higher positions. So I am also seeing the barriers of age and barriers of education breaking down. So in our company, we are not now very worried whether the guy has got a graduation also. If there is a good technician who has given us a good idea, we are encouraging him up the ladder. And we are even giving him management positions after giving him training, of course. So I think all these barriers which are imposed, like somebody said, inherited from the civil service mentality, these are being broken now. We are not too interested in his academic qualifications. Just being an engineer is not going to help him too much. We are really looking for entrepreneurship. So I have tried to give you, shall we say, the receiving side of the students whom you are trying to nurture, that they are going to face, and it's a good job that I think many of the organizations which we have in this panel are doing in trying to deal with the problem. of having students who think that their only business is to pass out of IIT or IAM. I've had the good fortune to study at one of these institutions and teach at the other. So I am quite aware of, what kind of students come out of there. And very too small a percentage is involved in entrepreneurial work. So I would strongly suggest that awareness be increased also among the students that their future is not something which is going to be assured by entering into one of the good companies. These good companies will now ask for a lot of entrepreneurship. Yeah, it's just some quick thoughts on the subject.